Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Breaking the Cycle. Today we have two guests. Well, one guest, and then one of our like adopted little stepchildren that we kind of took in, Joby. But our guest today is going to be Altcoin Radar with in our special. His name is Garrett. He runs the YouTube channel and the Twitter. Sorry, you can see right there. How you doing today, Garrett?
Awesome.
Great, buddy. So I kind of just want to get you to talk about yourself for a second, but um, do you have anything you want to like just tell us about you, or
Uh,
in the questions?
hey, I just love crypto,
Yeah, yeah.
I just love altcoins, love crypto, and yeah.
I love lamp. Perfect. That's a great. I like. We can get into that. So the first question we got for you is. There seems to be a difference between realism and the hype mindset in crypto. Can you kind of speak to that and what you think we should realistically be looking at when looking at altcoins as opposed to Bitcoin and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I've got so much emotion towards this kind of question. So first of all, like with all kinds of different altcoins and stuff like that, the thing is there's a lot of people out there, especially beginners, where they end up adopting this mindset of I need to just pick, two to three coins and then stick with them. And every other coin other than that is just complete crap. And realistically, that is the wrong type of mindset that you want to have because, it in the grand scheme of things, hey, we are still in the very beginning with crypto here. And when widespread adoption happens at some point in time in the future, I mean, realistically, large corporations and enterprise companies are going to be adopting these different technologies, and some technologies might not work as well, for certain industries that might work for a different industry, stuff like
Mhm.
that. So this is why I personally believe it is very important to be, have an open mind towards all types of different altcoins and all types of different projects that they've got going on.
Yeah,
Yeah, well
absolutely.
said.
Yeah, the technology is driving it. There's different solutions for different problems being thrown out there. You can't have one thing that's going to solve everything, right?
Yeah, exactly. And realistically, it's like the whole thing with like, for instance, let's say crypto is completely off the books here. Let's say we're just talking about small businesses here, all right? There's a whole bunch of, enterprise companies out there that are adopting various, various pieces of software that small businesses are building. And, that software might not work for certain small businesses, but it works for great for other businesses. So, it's kind of like that whole type of thing there. I mean, crypto is really not much different. I mean, there's literally all kinds of different use cases for different industries here.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I guess that kind of you can kind of throw that on the flip side of that. You can throw that sometimes the project that you are really interested in and you're really hyped on, you got to understand that it may not be the best thing for something else and that it may crash and burn. It doesn't mean the project is shit or it's a bad project. It just means that its niche purpose wasn't necessarily correct for the application in which the developers were trying to use it for, right?
Oh, for sure. And honestly,
Mhm.
this is one of the biggest reasons why I personally talk about all kinds of different altcoins. I mean, I'm a huge altcoin nerd. I'm looking into all kinds of different altcoins on a regular basis, and I just love learning about them. It's a lot of fun. And in addition to that, I mean, the whole reason why is because, I mean, like I said earlier, I mean, realistically, I mean, when this is all for widespread adoption, I mean, when widespread adoption happens someday, this stuff is going to be getting adopted. I mean, and, even if you're not invested in certain ones, it's nice to know and nice to see that these other projects are being adopted. And that's the other thing here, too, is like, I talk about all kinds of different altcoins, but I'm not invested into every single one of them. Just because I'm not invested in one doesn't mean that I think it's a crap project. It just, I'm just not personally invested into it.
Yeah, and that kind of, I guess you can say that that mindset keeps you from like, our next kind of question was how do you combat that tribalism on your end, because you do look at so many cryptos, right? Like you're constantly posting about different altcoins. I think you said that you have like 30 on your radar, no pun intended, that you look at constantly and everything. So it is how has that affected you? Like, did you start off thinking that everything was gonna, only looking at stuff that you wanted, and if you didn't like it, then you're just like, ah, screw it, whatever, I don't care about it? Or
No,
how
so realistically, for me personally, it's all got to do with, personal trust and how I personally feel. Me personally, I trust my gut in a lot of decisions I make in my personal life. And realistically, when I'm looking into various projects or all kinds of different projects, and I'm doing various research on all of them, if my gut is telling me that this project is, there's good potential for a rug at some point in time in the future, or something just seems sketchy, I'm just going to completely scrap it, and I'm not even going to take a second look at it in the future whatsoever.
Okay, cool. Right on.
Good call. Yeah, actually, Joe, I wanted to add something to that. So, like,
Yeah, go
speaking
ahead,
to
buddy.
tribalism, I think a lot of times when we think about tribalism, some people might consider it like one way or the other. So, like, tribalism in terms of like Bitcoin only and like everything else is crap, or I bought this coin and it's the only one that I hold, and anybody competing with it is crap as well. Garrett, do you think that you get like tribalism concerns from like both sides of the spectrum? So like you have people who support you for like one token that you might like comment on or make a video, but then when you're looking at into like a different play that's in a similar category, those people from the first project are like, oh my God, you're betraying, this other one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do you get the altcoin vengeance as well if you're not 100% loyal to like one coin or token?
Oh, trust me, I I get it quite often.
Mhm.
It's something I've noticed throughout the past, 2.5 years that I've been on Twitter, for instance. And Twitter is like a cesspool for this kind of stuff.
Mm.
Realistically, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'll talk very highly of a certain project because I personally really love it and what they've got going on. And then all of a sudden, I'll, tweet about some other different project that I also really like, but I haven't tweeted about it in a long time. And then I'll start getting messages, or I'll start getting direct messages and responses on those tweets, either somebody calling me a scammer or calling me a grifter, like somebody did the other day, or I'll have people just completely saying that hey, this project isn't nowhere near as high and mighty as the other project that I've been talking about for the last month or so. And it just I understand where they're coming from, but their mindset, it's just you really can't fight with that. Somebody has to really, you have to want to change. You have to want to be different. You have to want to have a different mindset in order to actually achieve it.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
And, realistically, this whole thing with this whole mindset thing and, being, realism versus hype and stuff like that, it's really going to hurt a lot of people in the long run. I mean, realistically, because I mean, the thing is like I was mentioning earlier, I mean, I'm talking about things like even social media, for instance, if you're the type of person where you're sitting back and you're like, okay, well, Facebook is it's the only social media that's good, and every other social media basically sucks. I mean, realistically, I mean, you can think what you want, but the other social medias don't suck. They're clearly growing their user base. They're clearly still working great. People are still using them on a regular basis. It's all just personal opinion in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
I know one thing I noticed, especially just in crypto, is the the community is amazing, right? We love our crypto community. However, many of the projects, and it kind of all starts with Bitcoin, have created almost cult-like followings, right?
Oh yeah.
And because of that, people tend to get involved in their project and marry it, and then they refuse to look at logic anymore, where you find yourself so deep in the belief system of a project and agreeing with everything that the community says that sometimes it's difficult to step back and look at whether the project is truly building or doing things that they should be doing, and they can do no wrong no matter what. So I think a real good thing people should do is always step back, take a look at what's really going on, and if you find yourself being that way, you should probably maybe reevaluate what you're doing and start really looking at the facts and what's happening in all the different projects and make sure you're still okay as an investment standpoint.
Oh, for sure, most definitely. And one thing that I really like keep in mind when I'm really thinking about this stuff on a regular basis, and something that really helps me personally keep grounded, is the fact that I think about all of the actual successful big time investors out there. These big time investors, they didn't get to where they are by picking one project or one stock or one asset and completely talking shit about the rest of them for the rest forever. It just
Right.
doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I think about is, stuff like that, because, realistically, that's just not how it works.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. If that was the case, there would only be one episode of Shark Tank.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They'd all pick
Yep.
one, and then they would just do that. But they take portions of their portfolio and put it into all these projects, and as long as they get enough of them to stick and enough of them to make enough profit to outweigh the losses on the other ones, then you're good to go.
Exactly. And the Bitcoin maxis, hey, I've got nothing against them personally. If that's how they want to, if that's how they want to treat their portfolio, and if that's what they want to invest in, hey, more power to them. But realistically, in the grand scheme of things, it's just going to hurt them in the long term. I mean, if they're okay with 3 to 5x gains for the rest of their life, then hey, why not? But realistically, if they, if you want to make some decent money or some, big gains, you're going to have to put it into altcoins at some point in time.
Yeah.
Yep. Human beings can turn anything into kind of like a religion. That's just human nature, I think.
Oh, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's the whole mindset thing that just really screws with a lot of people. And it's, it all goes down into your emotions, your mindset, your, psychological aspect and your psychological outlook towards everything. And realistically, to be honest with you, there's not a lot of people, there's not enough people that think about the psychology behind all of this. And they kind of slump on it and make fun of it and think that it's really not like a big deal. But realistically, it's more of a big deal than most people think. I mean, you have to be psychologically sound to make these decisions.
I think psychology is 90% of the market, to tell you the truth. I think, especially in crypto, everyone is driven by a certain motivation, and you can see it in the way the charts move. You can literally see what happens, the way people react to FUD and hype and all these different things. It shows in every aspect of the work.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
That's why
Absolutely.
I was so happy to find Ken Stanfield's community, because half of what he talks about is just the mindset and psychology and how crowd psychology sets price. So I just feel blessed to be in this community together.
Oh yeah, most definitely. It's nice to find people that have that same outlook and that same mindset. So, because I've noticed it's very, very rare to find. Everybody's all like, Ethereum to 10,000 or death, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think part of the reason everyone gets into crypto is because they do initially have more of an open mindset, but it seems like once they find like the project that they're like, this is my project, they're not willing to. It's like a dog with a bone, you're like, you guys have chewed this down to nothing. There's a whole bunch of fresh bones over there you can go look at, and the dog just like, nah, I'm gonna sit over here and eat my little scrap that's what's left.
Yep.
Yeah,
pretty much.
And it is I think it's hard for people to get into that mindset, because look at a lot of people, like when the crash happened, there was a select few people who bought the dip hard. Like when it went down to like 18, like I think Brian, I think you said you bought at 18. And
18.1.
Your dad was able to get in a little cheaper because
16.5.
Yeah. So there are people who are willing to, like that Rothschild quote, the time to buy is when there's blood in the streets, even if it's your own, right? Like there is a select group of people in crypto who actually do understand that and, are willing to look into it. And I think that hopefully having you on, we can extend that range a little bit, get some new people to look at it. But moving on to our next question, what kind of initially got you into crypto? Was it, Bitcoin initially, or what? Is there a specific product or coin or project that really triggered your, like, this is what I want to do?
So realistically, it's kind of interesting. So I'm actually a former software engineer, and my oldest brother is too. And back in 2013, when I was still in college, my brother had approached me and he had told me that he was starting to mine Bitcoin. And that was kind of realistically, that was kind of my first exposure to Bitcoin in general. I didn't even know it existed before that. And so after that point in time, I kind of, was a little skeptical, and I kind of did some research and whatnot, and I invested a little bit into Bitcoin. But when 2016 rolled around, is when I kind of really took a big, it's kind of 2016 is when I kind of really got into it big. I kind of, grabbed the bull by the horns, I guess you could say. And I said, forget it. I really like one of these projects. I really like what they've got going on, which was Stellar Lumens, XLM. And I ended up putting a bunch of money into XLM at 0.002 cents. And to be brutally honest with you, I still hold it to this day for sentimental reasons. So yeah, that's pretty much how I ended up getting into it and getting into altcoins in general. And Stellar Lumens is actually the one project and the reason why I still love altcoins and why I'm always constantly looking into altcoins. Because generally, realistically, when I started to learn about Stellar, I started to get really, really excited for this industry, and I really started to see the actual potential of, how things could change in the financial markets and everything. And realistically, that's pretty much what started everything for me was, me personally researching into Stellar Lumens back then.
All right.
And then a couple years later in 2021, that's when I actually went ahead and started my Altcoin Radar YouTube channel. Realistically, I started it because, I was a beginner once and it sucked because, there was no YouTube channels that was helping beginners whatsoever. There really wasn't, none that I could find anyway. And, so it kind of sucked. I kind of had to learn everything that I know today, from trial and error and making mistakes and stuff like that, which there's nothing wrong with that, obviously. But realistically, it would have been nice to be able to, watch somebody who's realistic, kind of, show the ropes. But I couldn't find anybody like that. So that's kind of why I started my channel, because I wanted to be that person. I wanted to be able to teach people about all kinds of different altcoins out there and stuff like that. And realistically, also, I have family members that they personally, they've got full-time careers and stuff like that. They don't have time to be researching various crypto projects on a regular basis. So I do a ton of deep dives into different various altcoins, and I do it simply for the sole purpose of those people that don't have time to do research on their own, so they can go ahead and they can listen to the video, at their leisure, and just, kind of get a broad overview of these various projects.
Yeah.
I'll say he does a really great job at that too. He really does. People should check out his channel because most of we're all familiar with it. Most of the YouTube channels out there are only promoting current events, like big news and hype type information. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. However, when you're looking for pure educational content to actually help you gain some momentum in the market, his is a great resource to look at. So I hope all the viewers check that out.
Yeah, go to my playlist real quick and go to Altcoin Education. In there, I have over 300 plus different videos of learning about all kinds of different altcoins. So, realistically, if you want to learn about any type of altcoin out there, I've got so many of them.
Oh yeah, this is awesome.
That's real neat. Yeah.
Joe, will you teach me how to read, please?
I don't know if I'm the one to teach you, buddy. I'm the dyslexic one, remember? So that may not go too well for you. If it's like asking me to teach you math, that wouldn't work out too well either.
I'll work on that with you, Beardy.
So that's you have 300 videos in there. That's amazing. Yeah,
that's a big mass of great information in there. People could really find that helpful.
Yeah, I'm all about education. I want people to be able to learn. My whole goal is to just help beginners to be able to understand and navigate the market easier, so that they don't have to go ahead and make the same shitty mistakes that I made, because that sucked. And there's a lot that I regret that I wish I would have done differently. So yeah.
Yeah. I hear ya.
Unrelated to that, but it seems like there's a lot of people coming in this bull run, because I mean that was kind of all of our thoughts behind doing this breaking the cycle show. Was we got into it and had to learn everything on our own, and it kind of sucked. Like you make some mess ups and you make some mistakes that cost you money, and it's like, well, I wish someone had told me that that beforehand. So it's really cool that you're doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that it's like the short form content. It looks like most of them are like, 10 to 15 minutes. And for me, I'm somebody who watches all of my videos on double speed. So I could bust out a lot of these, driving different places just to get like
Yep.
some perspective on those projects.
Yep.
So.
And I will admit a lot of the ones you're seeing right there on the screen, a lot of those ones are from when I first started the channel, and I did make a lot of mistakes when I first started filming in the very beginning. So I mean, they're great. There's a lot of information in there, but realistically, the ones that are more from of recent, those are probably my better ones as far as deep dives go and whatnot. So, but I'm still working on fixing a lot of those and going through and redoing a lot of those videos as well. So just because I halfway through doing these videos, I personally found an easier way for me to I guess you could say give off all this information about these different projects and be able to make these videos shorter. So realistically, there a lot of the newer ones that I've done in my altcoin education playlist are a lot better than my older ones. So I will admit that.
Yeah. I mean, we all,
learning curve.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I was
starts
gonna say.
somewhere.
Yep, you got to start somewhere. We all grow. It's like same thing with me with like charts. Like at the beginning, I had like different technical indicators on there. I made mistakes. I, you
Oh,
know, had like a bullish bias in some situations that like didn't allow me to see the bearish side. So yeah, I mean, people learn, people grow. So as long as you, are confident enough in yourself to admit that,
Oh yeah,
that's all that really matters.
most definitely.
Grinder actually
Nice.
exclusively uses the Guzmian channel now, thanks to Emmy. So
Or the Gaussian channel.
yeah, well, Guzman, Guzman, whatever. It looks like it's spelled the same. Anyways, so what? Moving on to our next question, Garrett. How do you keep your eye on the prize in the bear market? Like 'cause it's for a lot of people, this is their first bear market, right? Or maybe the viewers are going to be watching this in the future when it's starting. The next bear market is starting, and we post this for this specific question. But how do you keep track of everything, and how do you stay focused and motivated during the bear markets?
I actually love this question. So realistically, I mean, so this is my second bear market, and the first one I made a ton of mistakes. I was so emotional it wasn't even funny. I learned a lot in the last bear market. This one is completely different, and the one thing that I can say that has really helped me is one. I don't give in to news. I don't give into crypto news. I don't think there's anything bad about crypto news. Whatever, if it's what you're into, hey, whatever. But me personally, crypto news it messes with my overall mindset, and I don't want my mindset to be messed with. So I don't listen to crypto news. I don't listen to Forbes talking about crypto. I don't listen to anybody in news talking about crypto whatsoever, because all it does is it guides me away from my overall trading plan or my overall investing plan, and then I start to make decisions that I should not be making. So realistically, that's pretty much what I've been doing. Is I just I keep focused on my long-term goals, I keep focused on my strategy, and I just keep accumulating left and right.
Nice. I like the focus on fundamentals and like your own personal gut and stuff like that, because I've been in situations like that as well. I've been in the space since 2013, and I've had a lot of people over the years, tell me that I was a fool for certain things, or
Oh yeah.
you should get out now, sell now. Why aren't you selling? But like in my head, it was always, I'm not selling because it's not at what my original hypothesis and thesis was, you know,
Yep.
and nothing's changed to set that to make me change my opinion on that.
Exactly. And you can't let it either, because otherwise,
Mhm.
you know, if you do, then you're just going to end up making piss poor mistakes, and then next thing you know, you're losing little bits of money here and there, and then, you know, hey, anything can happen from there.
A little bit of money turns into a lot of money real quick, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just got to make a plan and stick to it.
Yep, exactly. And that's the key. That's one of the big key things that I think a lot of beginners in the space really lose sight on is they don't have a trading plan. They don't have any kind of outlook. They don't have any kind of goals for their future whatsoever. They're kind of just buying blind. And that's kind of one of the things I've seen a lot in this market in the last 2.5 years. And I mean, realistically, I've made a lot of videos on that too about, you know, you need to formulate a plan for yourself. You need to have some kind of strategy. Otherwise, you're going to end up making mistakes. You're going to end up losing your money. And then when you lose all your money, you're going to be pointing the finger at somebody on Twitter and instead of yourself, and you're going to end up, you know, calling crypto a scam for the rest of your life.
Yep.
And it's just not the right mindset to have. It's just really not. You have to worry about your own strategy and where you personally are going for the future.
Yeah.
Your portfolio is not the same as anybody else's.
Right.
That's like Rob from Digital Asset News says, your goals aren't my goals, right? Like,
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said on that. That you need to forge your own path, and that's what a lot of crypto is, right? It's you making the decisions and looking at a project, being like, I believe in it. And I think one of the earlier episodes, Grind, we did was when Solana, we were talking about the Solana dip, and everyone was selling, you know, after the FTX thing. But a lot of people looked at the project and just said, like, nothing has changed. It's just not popular right now because someone was a bad actor and their name is attached to it. The project is still growing in a bear market. You know, there's still plenty of people moving towards it. They're still building. So why would I sell right now at this huge discount instead of buying at this huge discount?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That seems to be the mindset a lot of people are trying to get into, and it seems like a lot of people are starting to get into that mindset, you know, because they're going through their first bear market and they're hearing everyone talk about it now. Like, it went from the sentiment being like it'll never go down to doom and gloom to, you know, and the people who are still here in the bear market are like, we love the doom and gloom news, you know, like, give us your crypto cheaper, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Pretty
Like,
much.
give us deals on it. So
Yeah. That really is it.
If you just
Oh, sorry.
yeah,
Go ahead.
go Joe. No, it's okay, Joe. But you
I
go.
was just gonna say, anytime I hear something like that that's really negative or very FUD based, I always look at my projects and I take a look and I say, okay, did anything fundamentally change? Did any governance proposal swap something that has made things different the way this blockchain operates? Or is there a massive technical aspect that has been corrupted with this project? Or have any major leaders or anything like that changed? And if the answer is no on all of those, I will execute extra buy orders when things like that happen. And that's helped me tremendously in crypto. Just simply taking a step back and looking and saying, did anything major change? And if not, that's it. Keep going.
blood in the streets, blood in the streets.
Yep.
Yeah, no, and like, when obviously nobody's going to know everything and get everything right, and there's unforeseen factors that can come in, but so you should be diversifying your portfolio, and you should be, you know, weighting your portfolio appropriately based on like how risky a particular project is compared to like others. But if you make it, my point of view is, if you make a decision on a specific asset, you shouldn't be making that decision on speculation. You should be making that decision based off of those, like the fundamentals that you mentioned, and like like kind of picking a price target that you believe it will get to. And for me, it's like based on like the ratios, like what's the total market cap? What is it now? What is its ratio versus Bitcoin? And if I believe Bitcoin's going to get to this ratio and then alts are going to run faster in the next bull run, what would the price be at that ratio that it's currently at? And then I'm assuming it's also going to pick up some momentum. That's how I kind of pick my price targets, so to speak. So if I'm looking at it that way and I'm saying, well, the history has already demonstrated that it's able to produce this ratio, and I believe that it's going to add more value in the future, therefore increasing its ratio against Bitcoin. So I'll put some money into a project that's like that. What I find so frustrating when I'm like talking to people that are trying to get into this space, like behind me, is I'll lay out the argument and I'll say all that stuff, and they just want to see it go up to that price. They don't want to see it go down first. And it's like so many times it has to go down first before it goes up. So, you know, let's take Bitcoin for example, so that we just don't like offend anybody. If you're saying I'm going to, Bitcoin's going to get over 100,000 at some point in my life, and I can wait for it, and that's going to be, a better percentage gain than putting it into the S&P or NASDAQ. If you believe that and you're putting money behind it, then you have to stick with that. Again, if fundamentals aren't changing, right? If there's no fundamental security flaw or anything like that. So when you buy in at 40,000, 45,000, 50,000, and then it goes down to 35,000, I don't understand why people are saying like, oh, never mind. It's like, I'm not going to do it. I feel like an idiot, because if you keep swapping your mindset like that, you're going to get burned on both ends, because you're going to be all happy at the beginning. Then you're going to be sad and depressed that like, oh, I think I made a mistake. Then you're going to sell at a loss and think that you're smart and, I'm saving my money and I'm not looking stupid. And then it's going to go to the original target you said, and you're not going to have any money in there. And you're going to feel like an idiot then too, for not being patient and waiting for that to happen. So it's like, when you make the first decision on what you're going to buy, have your price target ready, and have evidence to back that up, and stick it out.
Yep.
Otherwise, I think you're going to beat yourself up on both ends of the spectrum, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
No, it absolutely does. You have to hold your conviction, right? If you have that conviction in a project, it doesn't make sense for you to pull out just because it's not going the exact way you want it at that very moment, right? Like, you have to understand there are ebbs and flows to this, right? Like everything happens for a reason, right? It may be because some volatility. It may be because some other project came out and, is doing well. Like when the XRP won, right? Bitcoin took a dip because everyone was selling out of their Bitcoin because they've been accumulating Bitcoin for so long. And then they're like, all right, I'm going to switch it into this asset. And then, but if you had that mindset that, oh my God, Bitcoin's going down, I need to get rid of it. Well, yeah, it's going down temporarily because an event happened in the space that is going to allow people to, change their theory. Or they're like, hey, this has now become something where I am going to invest, like, because it won the lawsuit. There are some people who said if they win or they get some clarity, then I will jump into XRP, right? Like they're waiting for that. They're waiting on that to execute that. So you got to look and read the market and figure out what's going on. It may not be a bad thing, like I don't like XRP. I think we've all talked about this, previously, but I'm not a fan of the project, but I was rooting for them to win, right? And I totally support the people who were like, hey, as soon as it hits either this price or we get some clarity from the SEC, then I'm going to redeploy into it. I totally respect that because they stuck to their mission plan, right? Like I'm going to accumulate X until Y happens. And if Y happens, then I'm going to go to Z, right? Like, so you have to be really careful in the space. You have to be disciplined and you have to be technical. Like I guess I'm just recanting everything that everyone just said. So I'm going to move on unless anyone has anything else to say.
Yeah, most definitely. And like there's one thing that I always tell my people in my videos is every single, I mean, it's just like the mountains. Every single peak always has a valley. It never fails. Every single peak always has a valley.
That's
Amen.
a good one to use. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Beardy, do you have anything to say, or are you still in the corner trying to read the back of your Motrin bottle?
Oh.
Disconnect.
There.
I
Back
can't
of your
read or write,
Motrin
guys.
bottle.
Sorry. We're having a little luncheon, and I got like 20 kids running around, but I'm enjoying
Whoa.
the conversation.
No worries.
Make sure you orange pill those little rugrats while you're there, right? All right. So, Joe B, you got anything else to add, Bubba?
No, man, that's awesome. I agree with everything Garrett says. Great information.
All right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move on to the next one. I know this is gonna be hard for you because you've got so many projects that you're very passionate about. But what are the top 5, or you can even say, like top whatever you want to throw, alt project overview, and like what do you really get passionate about? What is it, like gaming? Is it like helping the financial space? What projects typically get you going?
So I absolutely love the blockchain gaming space and play to earn space. I think it's a great opportunity to give people, just regular retail investors, not even retail investors, just regular people who sit at home and play Android games all day on their phones, like I'm talking about elderly people even. There's all kinds of people that, play like that. And I love play to earn because people can quite literally play and earn. I mean, that's awesome. And if they're able to do that, I mean, geez, imagine when the entire, gaming industry out there just learns that you can earn money just for playing these games. I mean, once these platforms start growing their user bases, I truly believe that, the play to earn gaming space or blockchain gaming or Web3 gaming in general is going to absolutely skyrocket at some point in time. Now, there's also a couple categories also that I really like also. I mean, it's not just play to earn gaming. So realistically, I'm a huge fan of basically what I do when I'm looking into various projects and whether or not I want to invest in projects is one of the things that I look for is I always make sure that these projects could be top tier projects if they are built on top of top tier ecosystems. So like, I'm a huge fan of all of the big top tier DEXs that are on top of the top tier ecosystems. I'm a big fan of all the P2E platforms on the big ecosystems. But what I'm talking about here is, I'm not going to go ahead and pick Shiba Inu hot dog coin 39 that's built on, Binance chain and it's ranked, number 14,333, stuff like that. The stuff that I like to get into and the stuff I like to pick is stuff that's like top tier on top of the top tier ecosystems.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that you're not going to degen into Harry Potter coin.
No chance in hell.
Pepe to the moon.
And realistically, in my personal opinion, hey, I have nothing against people that invest in them. Hey, more power to them, whatever. I don't judge. But I'm not a fan of meme coins either. I don't care how good your meme coin is. I don't care what kind of utility your meme coin has. I'm not putting my money into it, nor am I going to talk highly of it. So, I guess you could say that's one category of, tokens that I just definitely will not touch whatsoever. Other than that, I hold a lot of large cap ecosystem coins. I hold a lot of gaming and P2E type metaverse coins also. Actually, majority of my portfolio is in P2E, various P2E platforms on top of top tier ecosystems.
And just so if anyone, sorry to interrupt you, just so if anyone doesn't know, P2E is pay to earn, correct?
Play to earn, yeah.
Play to earn, yeah.
Play to earn, sorry. Yeah, I wanted to clarify that for anyone who's confused about that. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Garrett.
And then I've also, I also get into a lot of DEXs as well, because I personally feel that, the whole DeFi industry is going to grow immensely in the long term because people want their privacy. People want to retain their financial privacy. And with DeFi, you can. So, realistically, I personally think that the top tier DeFi projects and on top of the top tier ecosystems are going to do very well long term. And and then on top of that, it's pretty much just other little miscellaneous types of coins that I have also that are in various categories, such as music NFTs or Internet of Things, stuff like that, or media entertainment, stuff like that, supply chain industry, just random different industries like that. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I like that you're talking about, looking into these projects and then also double checking that they're built on top of like a top tier ecosystem chain. It kind of reminds me of like one of the things that like James from Invest Answers says a lot, which is like he's not buying what's like being mined out of a particular like gold mine. He's buying the pickaxes. You need the pickaxes to be able to go in and mine it. So I'm going to invest in the tool that's necessary for these things to exist rather than speculate on if the whatever's looking to be mined is actually going to be produced.
Yeah, that's so true. It's not even funny. I actually really like that analogy, to be honest with you, because I actually just had that. I actually just had that thought the other day when I was thinking about projects like Engine and Altera, for instance. I mean, these two platforms are needed for developers to be able to create smart NFTs for various blockchain games. I mean, you can't get around it. You have to use them. So the more that those two spaces grow in the long term, the more those projects are going to grow in the long term. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly the reason why I'm personally invested a small portion of my portfolio into Engine, because I am a gamer at heart, and I saw it as like it's one of those tools for many things in that ecosystem rather than just a like specific game, like let's say like Axie Infinity or something.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Now, I don't know if you guys saw this. There was some pretty big news in the gaming sector recently where one of these top companies went out and decided that dormant accounts, they were going to completely erase all of their data and make it so they could no longer log in. And this is after these people acquired, I know in gaming skins and all these things, people will pay very large amounts of real world money and dedicate significant amounts of time to getting some of these features in their games. And then they decide that, okay, these people must not be playing just because they haven't logged in for a certain amount of time. So they completely erase all of their data from their servers. That, to me, that is one of the biggest pushes on why we need crypto gaming, because then you actually have ownership of what you're acquiring. You can't do that with the current system. And I'm hoping that gamers that are really involved start seeing this and recognizing that if you're willing to put this kind of time and this amount of money into what you're playing, wouldn't you like to actually truly own what you're getting? So I see it going places.
Most definitely. Yeah. It's nice to be able to own what you're buying and no third party can take it away from you.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I know what you're talking about, Joby. That's Ubisoft. They put out, they put out an email with like an updated, terms and conditions. I will say that they are getting pushback from it, and they are like backtracking on it already. But yes, previously in the week that it was coming out that like if you don't log in within like 6 months, you could potentially lose it. But they're clarifying now that it's more like 4 years if you don't log in, and there's certain things like if you do own things on there, they're not going to delete it because of like your ownership rights and whatnot. But this is the point is still the same, because this is a problem that's been going on with the gaming industry for a long time. So I've been a gamer my whole entire life. Like I got my first Xbox in like, I want to say like maybe 2002 or whatnot. But coming from like that place, it used to always be you had to produce a game that was an end product because there was no Xbox Live. There was no connection to the internet. So they put it on a physical disc. They shipped it out to you, and it had to work because they couldn't patch it later. Then we started getting into the digital age where they were like, oh, well, it doesn't have to be perfect because we can update it. We can have a day one patch. So now a lot of games, it's like you plug it in, you install the game, and then it's like, oh, you're not ready to play. You have to wait another hour for this like mega update to occur because we fixed all these things after we printed it on the discs.
Oh,
And
man.
now, right? Yeah. And then even now it's getting even worse because now it's becoming entirely digital. And so you don't even have a physical copy of the disc. You don't have a physical case that you can keep it in. It's on a server somewhere. And then a lot of these games are also now requiring you to have access to the internet. If you
Right.
can't access the internet, you can't play your game. And it's like, why? When it's
Yep.
like a single player game. I'm not
Yep.
playing with anybody else. And they'll say that it's because, we want anti-cheat and anti-piracy like certifications. And it's like, yeah, I get that. But you're also restricting my rights. So rights within games have been going downhill. And one last thing I'll say about this too is that Nintendo has recently just pulled a bunch of really old games from their servers. And those games no longer exist now unless you have pirated a copy of that in the past.
Right.
So they have destroyed a piece of gaming history because they don't want to fund the servers to keep them active anymore.
Right. Ownership's just dying, and it's
Yeah.
very sad.
Yeah.
That's honestly why I stopped gaming. I used to be real into gaming. My best friend in high school and I, he at one point, when he was in Afghanistan, he was in the military. He was in Afghanistan and got ranked in the top 5% of search and destroy in Call of Duty. And like we would play constantly together. And it got to the point where it's like you have to download a game. I'm like, dude, I live out in the country on 26 acres. Like, there's no way that I can stream data out in the country where I live, to play video games. Like, this sucks. And I just stopped playing it at a certain point, like I don't even, I think the last video game I bought was Red Dead Redemption 2, whenever that came out, years ago, I guess now. So,
Like maybe 2015.
Oh, shit, maybe, yeah. I'd like to see gaming go back to where you get a disc, you have rights, they can't take your shit, because if you lose any of your skins or any of that stuff that you downloaded in some kind of hack or whatever, it sucks. You're out, right? Like, and speaking to your point earlier, Brian, my godbrother used to spend hours and hours, and he would play not Dungeon Dragons, so the other one, World of Warcraft, and he would sell his accounts. He would have like 10 accounts going at the same time, and then sell them for a couple $1,000s a piece.
Oh yeah.
But he would spend like 100 hours, doing that to get those profiles up. So if you have the ability as an owner to be like, hey, you know what? I'm not a fan of the game anymore for whatever reason. I've decided I'm out. Hey, do you want to buy my Fortnite skins and Fortnite guns and all that? I'll give them, I'll sell them to you. I think that's cool because you paid for that. It is your property. It should be your property. You spend the money on the expansions, the extra gaming packs and everything.
Yeah, and like the play to earn concept is like nothing new in the gaming space, really. If you think about it, it just has like a new name. Like just like you said, Joe, there have been ecosystems within video games for like basically selling items or selling characters to like try to capitalize on the time that you've spent invested in playing a game. It's just like with play to earn, I feel like it's becoming a lot easier to be able to have that transaction, because like back in the day, if you wanted to do all that stuff, you had to like, make a website or put it on like eBay, have an agreement in place, and then like meet each other in game and like swap passwords or swap items and whatnot. Or you'd have to go through like Blizzard's marketplace for like, let's say like Diablo 3.
Maybe
But
they on that, didn't they?
What's that?
Didn't they charge the users on Diablo, if I'm not mistaken?
I think they took a cut or like a percentage of like your gains and stuff. But
right.
I mean, the biggest thing that they did was they just destroyed the ecosystem. It's kind of like a very mini version of like the U.S. government, because like what they did at one point, it was like Diablo was out for like 6 months to a year. Everybody had been grinding and like getting all their characters and all their items and saving up cash and converting like the gold into cash. And then one day they decided to put out a patch that basically reduced the value of gold by 10x. So like I had $86 of gold coin on my account, and then the next day it was automatically transitioned over to only being worth $8.60 something cents, just because they put out a patch. And it's because it's all they did was add, like strip zeros away from the product, the items that you were buying in game. They were like, this is no longer 100 gold coins, it's just 1 gold coin. So they messed up the whole economy that initially in those first 6 months, like some people that I knew was playing to try to find these rare items to then sell them. So like if you're trying to, if you're grinding for a couple hours to find an item that's worth $200, and then the next day you're coming in and now it's only worth $20 or $2 because of this economic change that they were able to do just by changing the ones and zeros in the background, that was essentially the point where I stopped playing.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Yep.
Yeah.
More reason to give power to the user.
Right, yeah, and a blockchain game is going to have all that ecosystem already set up and ready to go, and like you can audit it, and in a lot of these situations and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's actually a lot of people, or this isn't related, but I know a lot of people when they were selling their Diablo or any of those accounts, they were actually doing it for Bitcoin, which is kind of ironic, right? It kind of like turned full circle, I guess.
Yeah.
So moving on, unless anyone's got anything else they want to add. Garrett, you got anything else you want to throw in there before we go?
Nope.
All right. So I know you're going to like this one, and I have a feeling it's going to be a very passionate question for you. So I'm just going to mute after, and I'm going to let you go ham on it because I really want to hear your opinion on it. But what is your opinions on Maxi saying that alts don't have a purpose, alts are scams, alts are filled with hikesters and shucksters, to quote our wonderful Gary Gensler, who's been protecting us all very hard. So I'm really eager to hear you, because I know Maxis, they do have a point on some of it, right? They do have a point. Some of these projects are for sure scams, but a lot of them.
So realistically, from my perspective, again, this is going to be something where, everybody's got their own opinion, and that's okay. Not everybody's going to be the same in the crypto market. Me personally, I think they're just a bunch of fish in an aquarium, to be brutally honest with you. And they can never get out of that aquarium because they're stuck there. So realistically, I mean, they're just, hey, they're just all pro Bitcoin this, Bitcoin that, forget everything else. It just goes back to my conversation earlier about tribalism and stuff like that. I mean, realistically, I mean, you can't just have just one, you can't just have one technology that, takes over and that's it. I mean, realistically, there's all kinds of different use cases that these other projects have that, in the grand scheme of things, other major industries can benefit from.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like we lost Joe and Beardy there for a moment, but I'm sure they'll be back. I definitely agree with you on the fish in the aquarium analogy. It's like, if that's the only world that you're willing to like participate in or look at, you're missing what's on the outside of that. It doesn't mean that everything on the outside of that is great, but you should at least be open, going back to your original statement towards the beginning, have an open mind, be open to examining what are these other technologies that are available, and what can they potentially do to benefit the space or the human race as a whole.
Exactly. And it goes towards the whole realism aspect too. I mean, realistically, I mean, that's going to be how it plays out. I mean, it's not just going to be, I mean, you're not going to all of a sudden have all of these, 23,000 plus altcoin projects just drop off the face of the earth and all that's left is Bitcoin. I mean, that's just not going to happen. That's not reality. You have to have an open mind. You have to realize that, this is software we're talking about. I mean, these are real people building real solutions to real problems.
Mm-hmm.
And Bitcoin can't solve all of those real problems.
Right.
But boy, do those Maxis sure like to think they can. And Beardy's back on too. I missed almost everything you said because I got my internet. But Yeah.
Sorry,
so-
guys. I keep getting booted.
No worries.
you're good. Joby or Grind, do you have anything else to add on that? I missed out entirely. So
Oh
No,
no,
that's
no,
okay.
good, well covered. We're all set.
perfect.
Yeah.
So moving on to our final question. What alts or category of alts cause you the most excitement for the next cycle? I know we kind of talked about pay to earn or play to earn, but is there anything else that you're really interested in?
For me personally, it's really, it's all gaming, gaming, DeFi, and I guess you could say Internet of Things.
Okay.
I'm talking about projects like IOTEX, iExec RLC, Render, Fetch AI, all those different types of projects. So
Okay. Yeah,
Yep.
makes sense.
Awesome.
and then gaming and DeFi, obviously. So,
Yeah, definitely.
but no meme coins. F those.
Yeah. Yeah, my gaming play is the engine that we've already talked about. My DeFi play is Uniswap, and I don't have anything in the Internet of Things yet, but I am looking at Render. I'm watching Render.
Love
Oh
Render.
yeah, well, definitely get on that because Render's awesome.
Yeah, Render's awesome.
Actually, to be honest with you, Joby's the one that got me hooked on Render. So and Fetch AI
Nice.
actually. So
Yeah.
Nice,
Oh,
nice. Yeah, I'm waiting for it to maybe potentially go into the golden pocket here. Here we are. It's my personal opinion is that it's going to come back down in here.
yeah.
And I'm hoping to be able to scoop it maybe somewhere between 90 cents and $1.25.
It
Never
might.
know.
I'll tell you, they have a lot of stuff going on Render right now, though. The team behind Render is amazing, and the contracts and everything that have already started with them, I don't know, man. It's going to be. I think personally, right now, actually, is not a bad time to accumulate. This is, of course, not financial advice, just an opinion. But but I've seen the way that things work with this chain, and they are doing really big things.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you.
Not only that, but it's useful in the real world.
Yeah, it does have a real use case scenario. So for sure. I actually really like Render, and I actually am a huge fan of the graph as well. I don't know if you are interested in that as a project, but I think the graph is pretty neat and the stuff that it has the ability to do.
Yeah, I haven't looked into graph in a very long time, but I remember when I did, there's definitely some use cases there for sure for the, specific industries out there.
Yeah, and like we talked about earlier, I think what I'm hoping for, I'm sure everyone kind of feels the same way at the end of watching this video, is the viewers are more aware that there's so much more to crypto than just Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? Like there's so much more things that are going on there that are going to be affecting the real world, whether it be sports announcing, NFTs for concerts and stuff like that. Hopefully getting rid of the Ticketmaster,
Oh yeah, and Get Protocol can come in and I'm a huge fan of Get Protocol with ticketing on the blockchain.
Yeah, that would be
awesome.
I haven't heard of that one, but I'll actually have to look into that a lot.
Yeah, I mean it's already being used. So.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Cool. Oh
yeah. Yeah, one of my favorite artists is Zach Bryan. He's a country singer, and he put out a live album that says "All of My Homies," and the name of the album is "All My Homies Hate Ticketmaster," and that's kind of how I feel. So, they're stealing concert tickets. I couldn't go see T Sweezy at the Eras tour, unfortunately, because tickets were like $8,000.
Oh yeah. Well, the big thing is like with the traditional ticketing system, it's way too easy to it's way too easy to commit fraud. I mean, it really is. It's way too easy to duplicate a ticket. It just realistically is. But on the blockchain, you ain't gonna duplicate that shit.
Nope.
Ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
There's so many people. Like I've seen so many people. I've been very blessed to go to some really cool concerts. And the most heartbreaking thing you see is when someone goes to scan their ticket and they're all excited, and then it's like, hey, this has already been used by someone. Like, and then you find out that they bought it off of, the internet, or they just bought it from someone in the parking lot, and that it's heartbreaking, because I am I love music. That's actually one thing I'm really hoping that crypto and the blockchain can help fix is, live events again. So.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah. All for the future.
Yeah. Everyone needs to take a deep breath and take a step back and remember that we are very early into this, and we are living in one of the coolest times to be alive with all of this technology that's going. Like, there will be people in 100 years who read about this revolution that we're having now. We read about the technological revolution, or the farming revolutions and stuff like that. That we are living that right now. So,
oh yeah,
sure.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree with that, Joe.
Beardy, do you have anything else to add, buddy? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
No, I was just going to say, when people are using Bitcoin as like the world reserve asset, or like whatever, they're going to be looking back and they're going to be saying like, why were people not adopting this in like 2013, 2016? It's like, but we were there and we had to try to convince them.
Exactly.
It's all a matter of time.
Yep.
I would like to proclaim that I like green grapes.
Dude, I'm addicted to frozen green grapes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Frozen grapes is a cool trick. They're good that way.
Awesome summer snack.
I've ever had that before. I may have to go to the store and try.
Oh, they're awesome. And they're just, it makes them
grapes.
It makes them like extra tart too. They're like warheads.
Okay, right on. Nice. Did anyone else have anything else to add? Garrett, did you have any questions for us that you wanted to maybe ask? Or
I did not, other than this was fun.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we will go ahead. And Brian, did you want to share any charts or anything else, or are you good, Bubba?
I figured we could just quickly look at Bitcoin, since everybody usually likes to get a little bit of an update on that on Sunday, especially since we are going into the weekly close here. So all I really wanted to say about the Bitcoin chart today is this is going to be an important close. We're trying to hold the 50-day SMA, which is that teal line that's coming in here, and it's currently at $29,310. So we're a little bit above that right now. I would like to hold the 50-day. I would also like to maybe see in the last 4-hour candle be going into the close, maybe we can get above this horizontal resistance that was support last week. So this is last Sunday. We closed in between the horizontal support and the 20-day SMA. Then we lost it on Monday and came down, and we've been testing the 50-day all week. So we definitely need to hold the 50-day. I'd like to get back above that horizontal support, but it looks like it's definitely going to be a red weekly candle regardless of where it ends today. But remember, we are above the bull market support band. We are above the 200-week SMA. We are above the 200-day SMA. And on the RSI down here, I kind of drew this resistance trend line, and you might be saying to yourself, oh, hey, you left out this little blip here. Well, let's look at what that blip was. That blip was the XRP news. So XRP pushed it into a breakout, but it was not sustained. It was not held. So that was a false breakout. So that's why I have the resistance line going through that and not connecting that dot, so to speak. So you can see the weekly close is going to be really important because it's just hanging out right underneath that line. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the last 7.5 hours here.
Sweet. Yeah, hopefully it breaks through. I'd like to see it break through. But
Yeah. But again, like my first thought, as we've said in these videos the past couple of weeks, is that August and September are not going to be kind to crypto, as they traditionally aren't. So I expect more likely that we're going to see sideways price action and dipping down to the bottom of this channel, which is currently at about 27K, 27.2. And that's also in confluence with the 200-week SMA. And it's also possible that we could eventually, maybe in September, test 24 again. We never really got an official retest of 24. We broke through 24K over here. We had like 2 days where we kind of touched it right afterwards, but that was in the middle of the week. It wasn't a weekly close. And then we blasted through, and we've been spending so much time up here. And even when we dipped under, because of the SEC news, with like suing different coins and whatnot, we still never came down and touched it. So I would not be surprised if we were to retest that in September before blasting off, going into the halving.
That'd be kind of nice. Cheap altcoins. I'll take it.
Yeah. Bring it on.
Yeah. And that, actually, I'm glad that you brought that up, Garrett, because that would also help out with the Bitcoin dominance narrative that we have going on right now. Let me get rid of this. Because the Bitcoin dominance, I believe, should be able to touch at least 55%. And Ben at Into the Cryptoverse believes that it could get to 60% or 57% if you're looking at a diagonal resistance that I don't have in my chart here. The biggest thing that needs to happen is, for that to happen, would be Ethereum needs to take a plunge. And it's teetering on the bottom of this channel with the bull market support band and the 200-day SMA. But if it loses that and it capitulates, a couple of percentage points as well as the rest of the market, I think we can easily get to my 55% dominance target for Bitcoin with stables, and maybe even a little bit above. And again, that's going to be the last thing I'm looking for, is if we can touch that line and then start coming back down going into the halving, I think that's going to be the time to buy alts, load up the truck, and wait for the next bull run, boys.
Yes. Literally
Not
load
financial
it up. Get
advice.
your pallets ready. Hell yeah. That's okay. Nobody can afford Ethereum anyway.
Right. Yeah.
No one can afford to use Ethereum. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
that's it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm middle class, so I can only afford Solana.
There you go.
Yeah, I sent something in the chat the other day, and I made a meme, and it was, I am once again reminding you that ETH fees effing suck. Because I spent like $7 on a transaction to send like 20 or to send like $25. I'm like, how is this any different than anything else? Like,
And what's really crazy is that's cheap.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I look at Solana, Cardano, Polygon, and they're all fractions of a penny for transactions. And I'm like,
right.
Yeah.
Dude, and Fire Dancer comes out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. That's the move.
That's an exciting one for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're
waiting on that.
Yeah, we need that extra validator
when that comes out, because we were talking about doing a deep dive on Solana, so maybe we'll have to have you come back on for that one as well.
That'd be all. I'm actually working on a video personally for that one as well. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we'll definitely pin us in your tweets, and we'll definitely check out that video as well.
Yeah.
And I'll sing for you. Tiny dancer, fire dancer.
It's Beardy's actually working on a video for Toli. Or he's just going to be dancing in his Speedo. Well, we got him a Solana Speedo this time, not a Bitcoin one.
Perfect.
Guys, I'm serious. I'm taking voice lessons. We're going to do this.
Oh, did you actually? We'll talk about that offline. But anyways, all right. So I guess we're gonna wrap it up. We've taken about an hour of Garrett's time. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no, it went by real fast today. So do you want to plug all of our Twitters, Brian, please?
Yeah. So here's Garrett, Altcoin Radar on Twitter, as well as his YouTube. We'll go back here. There's his YouTube. And then we've got Joby.
Whoop, whoop.
Joby. We've got Joe,
There's me.
the host of Breaking the Cycle Crypto Show. We've got Beardy, who was eating lunch today with his family. And last
Goofy
but not
Sunday.
least, yours truly, Endless Grind.
Sweet, sweet. So thank you so much for coming on, Garrett. Really appreciate all the info and everything you shared with us today, and for all the viewers. We hope everyone really enjoyed it. I know I personally learned a lot and had a great time. So
Yeah. It's a
Oh, yeah.
pleasure
Awesome
talking
work.
with you.
Hope to do it again sometime for sure.
yeah, definitely. We'll definitely have to have you back on. All right. Well, if you guys, without any other further ado, we'll get everyone going. Go enjoy your Sunday. Go touch some grass. Do something. Call a family member you haven't talked to in a while. Tell them you love them. Do something nice for a stranger. That's that's what the crypto industry is about, right? Like, we're trying to be better people. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Smoke some grass.
All right.
I mean, cut some grass.
definitely. All right.
Take care,
Well,
everyone.
yep. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Talk to you
guys.
later. Bye.
Bye.